Hey y'all. Okay, so back in 2017, I was working out of this shop. I had just moved back to LA. And I love to I love to give back. So I love to do like giveaways or, like gift a mom or unexpected, like a mom a surprise makeover or whatever. There's times where like my clients for their birthdays, I may surprise them with like flowers, or I'll discount their service or what have you. It's like my way of telling my clients thank you pretty much. And then a lot of my giveaways are not exclusive to just my regulars, because I have a lot of people that support me that have never even sat in my chair, but they may share a post, they may refer someone to me, whatever. They may just even say a kind word, whatever. So back in 2017, I decided that I wanted to give away a prom, because when I went to prom, my father, he had a house, he had a mortgage to pay, he was raising 4 kids by himself, and so he couldn't really contribute a lot. And my mom and my auntie did take care of me from out here, because I was living in Arizona at the time. They did take care of me like from out here, but it just wasn't the same experience that everybody else gets. So, and honestly, like, no shade to my parents, but with me being the oldest, there's a lot of things that like I didn't get that my younger siblings did get. So for me, it's like I always try to be the person that I needed when I was younger, or I always try to like give back. So instead of being like, oh, I didn't get this, I didn't get that, didn't nobody do this for me, whatever, I get excited about giving these things or doing these things, for other people, especially kids whose parents may be in the same position that my parents was in during that time, right? So originally what I was going to do was I was going to give a prom away to 2 young ladies, and I ended up giving one away to 3. So what I did was I had, instead of looking for people myself, I put up a post, and the mothers had to nominate their daughters and tell me why their daughters deserved like a free prom, pretty much. So what I did was I did hair. It was free hair, free makeup. I would come to you if I needed to, and then I included bundles. And so the way that it worked was, the moms had to email me pretty much. So there was moms saying like stuff like, oh, my daughter this, my daughter that, whatever. And so the 3 young ladies that I picked, I'm just gonna call them girl A, B, and C. So girl A that I picked, she actually ended up being one of my auntie's friends' daughters. And I chose her because of like pretty much what she was doing. So she always like gave back to the community. She did a lot of volunteer work. She got straight A's. She, was on honor roll, etc., etc. And I remember the lady telling me like, part of the reason why she nominated her daughter is because she had been going through a tough time. She wasn't working, and that was one of those things that she was stressing about and whatever. And so I looked at it like, well, she has no reason to lie to me, because she knows whose niece I am. Like, they had a pretty good relationship. So I looked at it like, okay, well, maybe she really is on tough times. Like, why would she have a reason to lie to me, So then girl B, she was the cousin of a client that I had at the time. And same thing with this young lady. She was an honor roll student. She prior to had like just lost her mother, and she was still doing the damn thing. She didn't let that get her down. It made her go harder. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm finna, I'm definitely going to pick her. Like, she deserves a nice gesture, with everything that she's been going through. Like, could you imagine losing your mom senior year? Like, and some people have. So, that was where my mind was with that. So then girl C, she reached out to me, and it's crazy because she actually reached out to me herself, and she let me know. She said, as much as I would have loved to have my mom nominate me, she was like, I didn't want my mom to be embarrassed or feel bad about what we're currently going through, so I hope that it's not a problem. And so she was explaining to me, like, girl C really spoke to me because, she was like in school, she was working, she paid for her own prom ticket with her money. Like, she was using like her checks from her job and stuff like that to try to come up with as much as she could come up with, and that so that her mom wouldn't feel bad. I remember her telling me like one of her best friend's mom actually bought her prom dress because her mom was just really going through it at the time. So I chose those 3. So let's see, how did we do this? Okay, so what I did was, everybody, like the people that were getting installs, what I would do is I'd have them come in ahead of time so that I could give them the whole shebang. So we washed them, deep conditioned them, full treatment. And so I had them come to the shop like a couple of days before, because the good thing with a weave is you can install a weave ahead of time, and then always have like, you can the day before style it and do whatever you're gonna do. So let's see, so girl A, because if I'm not mistaken, girl A, her prom was first. So girl A, I went to her house. Now let me tell y'all, I was so disappointed when I realized that I had been taken advantage of. So when I got there, and this girl A didn't live too far from like a family member's house, so I knew the neighborhood and all of that. But girl A, I get there, y'all. Taco Man, if you're from LA, y'all know the Taco Man is not cheap. Taco Man, my mother is an event planner, so I know what certain stuff look like, and I know what goes into it. And I know that all of these people did not give this child no free prom. So we talking about the big old, like, I call it the queen's chair, but the big fancy queen chair in the driveway, like, we talking about balloon arch. Once again, my mother is an event planner. My mom does balloon arches. They're not cheap. Big old balloon arch. I'm talking about DJ, table set up with the tents, whole champagne party, like, get down. And I'm not saying that, like, you can't have these things and need help, but did you really finesse me? So me being me, it ain't my thing to worry about. One thing about me is if I'm gonna help somebody, I'm helping you because I want to, and I will let God handle and deal with the rest. But we get there and the math just wasn't mathing. And honestly, y'all, this child was entitled. So I start to do, okay, so let me back up. When she came to the shop to get her hair done, the first thing she asked me was, how long are my bundles? And I was like, everybody's getting like 20, 22, whatever. And she was like, oh, because I want 30 inches. I was like, well, beggars can't be choosers. This is free. This is free for you. It's not free for me. So this is the links that you're getting. She was like, oh, okay. So we do her hair. So then anyway, so fast forward back to the function. So I'm starting now, like, I'm first of all, like, you do the hair first and then you do the makeup, because all the hairsprays and stuff like that, it can mess with the longevity of the makeup. If you're using like products that got oils, like if you're spraying like an oil sheen or something like that, that will affect the makeup. And you want this to last because this is their prom. So I get in there, I'm curling her up or whatever. All of that is everything. So then I start doing her hair, and she's like, well, can I see like what kind of lashes are you using on me? Because I want some mink lashes. I want like some really long lashes. You're getting this for free, right? Your mama didn't pay for this. Okay. So I showed her the lashes, and she was like, oh, you don't have nothing longer? I said, I have what I'm giving, pretty much. So I do her makeup or whatever, and overall, like, she was really excited. She appreciated it. And sometimes, like, there are people that have been spoiled their whole life, but they're still not used to certain things. So they feel like, well, this person give me the whole world, so you supposed to too. I'm not your mama. So I do her hair. Let me just say this. For somebody to be giving out a whole bunch of free shit, baby, I was not offered a sip of water, let alone nothing, right? I've done weddings, I've done proms, I've done graduations, I've done all of that. And if I go to a client, usually the majority of the time they're very hospitable. That did not happen here, but it's okay. So I finished her and all of that, and that was that. I gotta, they said thank you. I went on about my business. I'm gonna address each client as I tell the story so that it doesn't get all mixed up. So after all of this was over, because I believe they had a photographer, so after all of this was over, like, they posted, the girl had a social media and so did her mother. So they posted everything or whatever. But the girl pretty much thanked everybody but me. And it did bother me back then. Like, now I'm a little different, but back then, it was just like, damn, like, I am taking time away from my kids. I'm taking, time away from, I could have paying clients right now, and I'm coming and I'm doing this. And I'm telling you, she thanked the dress designer, she thanked the event planner, she thanked her mama. She did not once did she even tag me and say this person did this for me. Nothing. I think the mama tagged me once, but in everything else, like when she was shouting at everybody else, I did not get a shout out after that. Also, I never seen it. Like, I think that girl came back to me one time. No, I lied. Nope, I lied. I never did their hair again after that. Like, neither one of them. But I will say that I was warned in advance about being finessed, but because I had already chose this person, I wasn't going to go back and renege on it. I was just going to finish the job. So that's girl A. Girl B, I did her hair and makeup, and it was the same thing. So the client that referred me did shout me out, but the young lady, never heard from her after that. This is 2022, have not heard from her since. Girl C, let me tell y'all about Girl C. And I know I'm going to sound really biased, but I've actually cultivated a relationship with Girl C over the years. And so things were different. So let me just say this. So Girl C, because her prom was last minute, like literally by the time I chose her, we had about 48 hours to get her together. And it's crazy because she received the least amount of like perks because of the short time frame, and she was the most appreciative. And it just goes to speak to, like, I'm not gonna say that their character, but to like how people are raising their kids nowadays, right? So, and that's no shot at girl A and B. I'm just saying. So girl C, she ended up already having hair, so I didn't have to provide hair for her. And I told her, I was like, well, like the hair is included. Do you want like your hair? And she was like, oh no, you don't have to give me no free hair. Like I already had hair. I'm like, okay. So same thing. I give her the whole shebang. I install her hair. So technically, all Girl C got was a free install because she didn't want the free bundles, although they were hers. She already had hair. She was like, girl, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like what you're doing for me is enough. And I've known this girl now. Let me see. It's 2022, so this has now been 5 years, and she's still the same. So, did her hair. She was so excited. Like I would insert the video, but I would have to go like far back and find it. But she was so excited. She was the sweetest thing. Like, and then she came the morning of her prom and got her makeup done. And that's when I met her mom, and her mom was just like, "Thank you so much for what you're doing." And I just told her, so like honestly, she was me. Like, I was that age trying to do hair on the side and working a job and going to school and trying to keep my grades up, and trying to make sure that my parents didn't feel bad because it wasn't like they didn't want to. They couldn't. There's other kids. I wasn't the only kid. So like, I said, I completely understand all of that, which is why I wanted to do this in the first place. And so I did her makeup. She was very pleased with her makeup. Went to her prom. When I tell you, like, tagged me in pictures, all of that. And then afterwards, after she graduated, she has been a return client. Now, I don't see her as much now because she works 2 jobs, but she always taps back in. When I tell you, that's become like a little sister to me. But what blew my mind was the other 2 young ladies got everything, right? So they got free hair. They got free makeup. I traveled to them. All of that. When I tell you, I never heard from them young ladies again. Never so much as a thank you. Never nothing, right? Girl C, all Girl C got was install, and then her mother brought her to me back to my salon to get her makeup. So all of what I offered, if I offered 5 things, she only got 2 out of the 5, and she was the most grateful, like, and the most gracious. And it just was wild to me, right? So I wouldn't say that I would never do a giveaway again, but there's a reason why I don't really offer them that much. Like, I know that you do things out the kindness of your heart, but everybody wants to be appreciated. And I have a thing where I always say, like, if I'm going to do something and I'm looking for a certain outcome, I'm not going to do that thing, right? So, like, for instance, we all do those things that no one asked us to do, and then we're looking for recognition for it. And then we get upset and disappointed when it doesn't happen. And so just from experience, I've just learned, like, if I'm going to do something and I'm looking for that, I'm not going to do it again. Now, I did do a giveaway prom after that, like maybe like 2-3 years after that, for a young lady that was in foster care. And that was a beautiful experience. Overall, though, my message for this is just don't have a hardened heart. Don't harden your heart towards ungrateful people. Or, like, God puts you in certain rooms and certain places to bless people, whether they recognize that you're a blessing to them or not. And for me, I firmly believe that you should get the gratification out of what you're doing, as opposed to, people appreciating it or not, right? And so, would I do that again? Probably not. I always say that, like, I know when someone is put in front of me to help, because I'll like say, like, you know what, God, I want to do this and this and this. Like, align me with these people, align me with this situation, and that'll happen. You know, I might have somebody reach out and say, oh, hey, look, I got XYZ going on. I'm looking for some volunteers, whatever. Or I have friends that work down on Skid Row, or they work in like women's and children's shelters. And when I do have like that giving, you know, that giving urge, I'll just contact one of them and see like if they're in need or if they need help with something. You know, I got a lot of clients that work in like group homes and work in things like that. And I'll reach out that way. But, you know, when you are putting these things like this out on the internet, you know, you really don't know who's being honest, and it honestly isn't our problem. But, you know, at the end of the day, my mama has this saying, what's free for someone else is not free for you. Someone somewhere is paying for this, right? So, and I think that for me over time, that's always what's bothered me. It's not about the money. It's about the time that I'm putting into this. So if I'm giving my time to you, I'm sacrificing my time elsewhere, you know? So that was my little story time with that for today. Like I said, I got plenty more of them. If there's anything that you guys want to hear about, feel free to like shoot me a comment or a DM. Talk to y'all later. Bye.